Welcome to Corporate Review. I'm your host, Ara Topouzian. I'm the Director of Economic Development for the City of Novi. We're in a gorgeous building today. Camera won't be able to do it justice, but I'm here with Mr. Tom Jones, not the singer.
That's right.
Who's the senior,
not a good singer anyway.
Well, me neither, so we got something in common. Senior Vice President of Ryder System,
Ryder Supply Chain Solution.
Okay, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it's a long title. Thanks, Tom.
Good to see you.
Having us come out. Certainly,
It's
there's
my
a lot to talk about, and I think when people think of Ryder, they think of the rental truck and they think of nothing else. And certainly, you're more than that. But talk a little bit, if you could, about the history of Ryder.
Well, you know, that's really who we are. We are part of the Ryder rental truck or Ryder leasing that people are most familiar with. And
right.
you know, when people say a Ryder truck, it's a household name.
Right.
And Ryder itself is about a little over 75 years old. In 2008, we celebrated our 75th anniversary, and we've been doing basically the same core business for all that 75 years, leasing trucks. But in about 1988, logistics really started to explode in the United States and North America in particular. It had been popular around other areas of the world, but in North America, really, the late 80s was the time it started, and Ryder saw that as a great opportunity to enter into a new but related business lines. So Ryder Supply Chain Solutions is about 20 years old. Now Ryder is about a $6 billion company in total, and Supply Chain Solutions is about a $2 billion division of Ryder Solutions, or Ryder System. So pretty large entity, but nowhere near as well known as our sister division, the rental and leasing truck company.
Break that down a little bit more, Tom. Talk about what encompasses supply chain / logistics.
Well, what we do is we manage supply chains for major companies, not only just here in the Detroit area, in Novi, but around the world, really. We have in this building, we have logistics engineers that do planning supply chains for material moving in and out of stores, in and out of manufacturing facilities. We also have a large group of people that buy outside services from ocean providers, air, ground, parcel services that are going to be needed to move all this material. And then finally, in this building, we have a central dispatch type arena that watches over the supply chains for a lot of companies, not just automotive. And I really want to emphasize, even though our roots are in automotive, and it's a great industry, and Ryder's one of the leaders in automotive, we have aerospace, we have retail, we have just about every industry segment that you can think of operated or planned or procured out of this building.
Go back 30 years. You're talking about how things changed back in the 80s. What was the environment that changed how Ryder did business?
Well, in particular, it was the concept of just-in-time inventory. In 1988, Toyota was very successful with their production system, which really relied on a well-managed and tightly managed transportation system that reduced inventory and got parts to the assembly lines just in time to be put onto a vehicle. And Ryder started out with Toyota actually in 1988, and we supported the first plants for Toyota in the United States. And then that just morphed into supporting all of the major OEMs, and that's why Ryder Supply Chain Solutions has become a leader in the automotive logistics segment. And as other companies have really realized the value in managing their supply chain, especially as the supply chains go from local to global, truly, you have a lot more things that have to be managed. You have to have a lot more control of it, and they're much more costly than they used to be. So that's where Ryder fits in, is managing that whole movement of the global supply chain.
Okay, and you've talked about, you talked about diversifying into aerospace and whatnot. In these times, certainly companies that can diversify, know how to diversify, and are healthy enough to make that diversification really do last out for the long run. Talk a little bit about the aerospace. That's somewhat interesting.
Well, aerospace in particular is a manufacturing entity. It has a very high value product.
Okay.
And some of the work that we do is for the major engine manufacturers and also the major airplane manufacturers, managing all the material it takes to make not only the airplane engines but also the the large planes that people ride in every day. And there's such large investments that the need to have the ability to manage the parts correctly, to be there on time, so the assembly lines can work, and also to manage the spare parts for an aircraft on ground, AOG. Those are all critical capabilities that we have to have. You know, an aircraft that's not able to fly because a part's not available costs literally tens of thousands of dollars an hour because you're not able to utilize that. So it's a very high, high risk business, I'll say. But if you do it right, it's also very rewarding.
Very good. Tom, we're going to be right back, and I want to talk to you a little bit more about diversification market and also why you came to Novi.
Oh, that's great.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.